Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Under the Surface, and we're back at it again with the lore. Took a little break from the lore, but now we're here again. This Atlas Archives video wasn't as crazy, more sort of what we'd expect before we found out the bazaar is flat, right? And that there's secrets in the Green Heart. But we learned a little bit about the underbelly of the bazaar.
Sort
But
of, yeah.
actually, the thing that shocked me the most about this whole video was that they said that most people in the bazaar are good, which I guess, like, okay, like most people are chill, like they don't want to like scam people, right, or whatever, and or stick a gun in their face and steal from them. But the Thieves Guild and Boss Harrow's gang and the Gorgon nobles, who we now know, or the Gorgons, I guess, that we know are now kind of the premier. What would you call them? Like
Villains? I don't know.
they're the minority. There's not a lot of these, and it's really weird too because this video treats the like a typical employment. Like,
Yeah.
I want to work for
The
Amazon
yeah,
and
there's like
like benefits.
ladder. Sorry.
No, I think there's definitely a comparison between the real world and the underbelly of the bazaar here because Boss Harrow literally says, "I'll pay you double what Mr. Moo will pay you," and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, people go to Boss Harrow because he gives you like the good insurance or something.
Yeah, that's sort of implied. But the main part, like the main takeaway I had from all of this was that it is somehow tiered. Like if you are only going into this sort of lifestyle, you'll go for Thieves Guild, and then you are, well, this low level. Imagine those mobile game ads, when you are level 1 crook and you go for Thieves Guild, and if you are level 50 boss, then you would level up and go for example, Harrow Gang. So it seems like Thieves Guild is this nursery for thugs and criminals, and if they prove themselves enough, they can advance to work for Harrow. And he says he owns Raftown, but also Thieves Guild operates within Raftown. So it sort of seems like Thieves Guild is like subsidiary, like a branch company, right, of Harrow Gang. And therefore, this offering of double salary seems strange because it's almost implied that Mr. Moo works for Harrow Gang, but maybe not. Maybe they are competing in some way, but not really. Hard to say.
Yeah, I sort of took it like Boss Harrow and the Thieves Guild were sort of like they're obviously competing, but they're not like how the Gorgon Noble and Boss Harrow are, which is like they're like arch enemies. They're just sort
Mhm.
of like competing in this friendly way, maybe sort of as friendly as gangs can be, you know?
Yeah, it's also possible that maybe they, operate in different spheres, as in Thieves Guild is, well, this sort of peer-to-peer criminal activity, whereas Harrow Gang is more B2B, business to business. So they
Wow.
don't, chase old ladies for their purses down the street, but more like they, rob banks, or maybe, they clean out warehouses, or perhaps even, take out certain people for dates, obviously.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to explain it. I mean, that's kind of what I got from it, which is weird because before this video, I assumed the Mr. Moo was like the big honcho. He's the guy who does whatever he wants, and now he's actually not as big as you thought. So
Yeah, which seems weird, but I mean, he still has a really cool drip. Like, this guy has style.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, he's a mafia boss cow. Like, what aren't you gonna love about that? I do know this is just some lore for people who haven't been here since the beginning, but I'm pretty sure Mr. Moo was like one of the top tier Indiegogo like
Backers, yeah.
contributors. Yeah, yeah. They created this character and then they put him in the game. So just a little fun reference for you guys. Then you have the Gorgon family, which they said is more of a crime like dynasty rather than just, kind of a little gang.
I mean,
But
they said that the name of this criminal society is Gorgon family, but then they sort of straighten it out that it's not only a family, it's a dynasty, because it spans the whole time since the beginning of the bazaar.
yeah, I found that really interesting. So I guess their family was one of the first settlers, like along with Nufu and other
Mac,
people,
perhaps.
which I didn't expect this either. I didn't really think about what the Gorgon Noble was, right? But I didn't really think she was like a crime boss. But they're living in the Tower District, which is like the downtown area of the bazaar, which is like the rich area,
Hmm.
you know? So, or I kind of assume that.
Yeah, it even
But
says that they have gleaming streets there. So I assume like the upkeep is done by someone. Perhaps even Gorgon family employs some cleaners or caretakers. There are probably more words that describe that profession, right? But yeah, I guess they have this part taken care of.
yeah, the Gorgon Noble is like genuinely creepy too. Like in that video, she was kind of freaking me out when she was on screen. But I don't know what kind of like what are they even doing? And like they're so high in the crime world that they're not like they're borderline like not even committing crime. They're just like they're just like avoiding taxes and
I
controlling an area. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess if Thieves Guild is, as we said, like personal level criminal activity, then Harrow Gang is this business type strategy. Then I guess Gorgon family would be on like this country level or like government level, in the sense that you push certain. Well, they don't have laws actually. Then my theory
Like
scrambled there.
yeah, we still don't really exactly understand how the government works, but I mean, I assume they're essentially they're like one of the groups that is helping create the laws type situation.
I mean, if they police people that live in Tower District, they can perhaps impose some taxes, with big quotation marks there.
Hmm.
But then again, like someone has to clean those streets, so perhaps it all comes back to the people. So I don't know. And I guess we shouldn't also forget about Harkuvians and Cloud Tops, which are sort of like personal armies. And in my opinion, they like what's the difference between like criminals that sort of say they are criminals and literal mercenaries which don't really care who they serve, but are going to do those exact same despicable things.
Yeah, that's a good point. The line is really blurred there. And I mean, if the Gorgon nobles are so rich that they're like top tier in the Tower district, aren't they one of the people employing the cloud tops, right?
Yeah, that's my point.
Maybe it's more about like the origins of it. Like the one day hundreds of years ago, the Gorgons were similar to what Mr. Moo is doing, or something like that of that
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah, I mean that's possible. As money likes money. So when you have a bit of money, then you can get a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and a little bit more. So if the family, the dynasty is that old, then we can assume that they accumulated a lot of wealth, probably, right? So if you have enough wealth, then you sort of have, well, you have the power, right? Because usually wealth equals power. And if they have power, then they can influence how the city is shaped and how life there, works, I guess.
It would be really funny if the Gorgon nobles, like the Gorgon family, was just like we're just like landlords now.
Huh.
That was their big crime.
I mean, actually, that could work because, if they own Tower District, then, and as you said, it's sort of like downtown of the bazaar, then plots of land on in that space would probably be really expensive. So imagine that Pygmalion, to set up his 15th shop, has to pay up and, has to pay up for the possibility of doing business there. I don't know. But
Oh,
this is not all, actually, because there are apparently some freelance criminals, like people that also do not necessarily like good deeds. I don't know, like dishonest work. Like, so we've been shown Hooverbike Hooligan and also Weapons Platform as entities that do not want to associate themselves with any of those gangs. And also we are shown Car Conductor, who says that they are from End's Blood, which I'm not sure if that's a place or a group of people. I'm not sure if you know what that could be referring to.
kind of assumed a group of people, but I don't really know because they all look like they're from the Outlands, right? Just
Yeah.
generally speaking.
Do you think those three like enemies, like weapons platform, hoverbike hooligan, and car conductor, are all sort of together in the sense that they are like those Mad Max mechanized?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And yeah, I didn't think about the Mad Max inspiration, but now that you look at it, like especially Car Conductor, it's like
Hmm.
exactly that vibe. And I hadn't looked at weapons platform really this closely. That's a weird thing.
I mean,
I don't
weapons
know what that is.
platform looks like some sort of tank amalgamation. Like there are a lot of gun barrels there.
Yeah. So in the Outlands somewhere, they're just having Mad Max like road battles constantly.
I mean, we know there's a pretty sizable desert right next to the bazaar. So, I mean, there's a lot of place to do those things. And I guess since we are in this sort of futuristic society, they at the same time have like those conventional cars and even captain's wheel in the case of car conductor. But Hooverbike Hooligan has like this, well, Hooverbike, right? So straight out of Star Wars.
But we just know too that there's like weird tension between people in the bazaar and the people who live outside of it,
Hmm.
which I mean, that kind of happens in real life too, but it's just more pronounced here. So, I mean, it makes sense that they feel weird about like I can't remember exactly what they say throughout this little thing, but they're obviously like talking trash to
Yeah, Hooverbike
the
Hooligan
Bazaarians.
says that Thieves Guild is dry, but I guess that's British slang, and as I'm not British, I'm not 100% sure on what that means, but I would assume that it's sort of like, well, they do not like each other, right? But that's an intriguing point, as if those freelance criminals, those, well, Mad Max guys, are sort of at odds with Thieves Guild and all the other bazaar criminals. I wonder if there are some, drive-bys, perhaps, some combat going on there. Because, I mean, from what GTA has taught me, those things happen when two, criminal groups have some conflict in regards to the turf.
I'm curious if like because they're in two pretty separate locations probably most of the time, right? So I'm curious if like Thieves Guild people go out into the Outlands to like, are they negotiating deals? Are they like attacking each other because they're mad? Does like the hoverbike hooligan come in and do a drive by at the Thieves Guild and just risk his own life for that?
I mean, we know that in real life there are things like drug deals, weapon deals, So I guess there's like this, perhaps like even Breaking Bad level of story hidden somewhere in those, topics.
I was gonna jump on your Breaking Bad comment because wouldn't it be hilarious if like a show of like that caliber that is about something like that is just about some like teacher who gets cancer and then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna join the underbelly, the bizarre, and that's the Netflix show that gets greenlit. That's worth like
Yeah,
costs like $100 million per season.
yeah, it's literally Breaking Bad, but it's bizarre.
Imagine a live action Mr. Moo. The like last thing I wanted to talk about here were the new items shown off.
Oh yeah.
There's two, and they're obviously Vanessa items. There's a 241. There's this, I don't know, it's a really cool looking piece of armor for her, but it's like water, it has like fins on the bottom.
Mm,
It's like
can
water
you
based armor.
right? Okay,
Don't
actually,
tell me that doesn't look nice.
yeah, it's sort of like a armor for a mere person. Mm.
Yeah, I didn't notice this item on the first run through. I guess because I was so focused on the lore. But then when I went back and looked at it, I was like, "Oh my god, this looks awesome!" I don't know what exactly it would do. I mean, shielding kind of makes sense, but it feels like it's an armor that like enhances you, not like protects you. You know?
Yeah, true. I mean, obviously it has fins, so like it's probably an aquatic item. We have a couple of aquatic shielding items, but I don't know. It's sleek, so it's also it gives off speed vibes, like you're going to be fast in this armor. And there's also like this green gem right at the heart, like at the center of the torso.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I mean, we always talk about how the gems are like power. I mean, like you see them all throughout everything in the bazaar. So I wonder if that's what powers the suit. It's like Iron Man's like core thing.
Mm.
I don't know what it's called, but
I mean, yeah, this item is sort of enigmatic, but the other one I think is obvious. It's a fire sword. You know, it's red. It has flames all over it, and there are those like little canisters, I assume, for fuel. And it's not really like comparable to that, as in it doesn't look the same, but it reminds me of the Dante's sword from Devil May Cry. I think that was 4, 5. I don't remember. There's like billion of those. But yeah, he
yeah.
in one, or maybe that was his brother. I don't even remember the name. But yeah, in one of the entries, he had this sword with like a trigger that you could, sort of charge, and then it also dealt fire damage, if I remember correctly. So I
Oh,
don't know.
okay.
For some reason, I just thought about that, but it's not really similar in terms of design.
We know it probably does damage and it probably does burn.
Yep,
So yeah, I assume these are part of the next expansion, like her next expansion. I mean, you would think. So
makes sense. And if not next season, then in 2 seasons. But I suppose, wait, we've got like Mark and Dooley this time, so I mean, Pig and Vanessa makes sense.
yeah, true. Plus, Mac has had 2 back to back, right? No, he hasn't.
No, I think there was like, or did he? He might have. Okay,
Oh,
like
whatever.
great. That's the greatest episode of all time. We are so prepared to do that, do those episodes.
Yeah. So yeah, let us know which gang of the Bazaar's underbelly you're joining.
Ah, yeah.
And don't just say Gorgons because they pay well, right? Like you have to have some experience. So
Yes.
you have to have a
And
college degree.
and I would, consider Harold's gang, on-site training, work-life balance, Fruit Fridays. There are a lot of benefits.
Yeah. I mean, it pays a lot to have a good boss too. So
Mm.
yeah. So let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe.
Definitely.
Yeah. And see you on Nunhead's channel on
Monday. Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah. So bye.
See ya.
Right.